Alright, so everybody's going to be finding 3 to 5 boxes and setting them up with a light source shining on them, as you see in the pictures. And then you're going to also find some kind of figurine, doll, statuette, some sort of little guy to include to make it a little bit more interesting as a drawing. But yeah, we're doing the basic forms section of lessons, so we're thinking about shading and different ways to do shading. I'm just going to do sort of the standard, moving up from 2H and then going to HB, then 2B, and then 4B. So we are going to have an expanded value range for this one compared to what we've done previously. If you have writing on your box, don't draw it. So I'm sitting in a position where I do see the top. I'm in kind of a high chair. Also, try to get the angles exactly as you see them. Generally, for form drawing, I'll keep the verticals vertical, unless it's like obviously not, but it's gonna look weird a lot of the time if your verticals are at an angle. So instead of making my vertical like what I think it looks like that, from where I'm standing or sitting, I'll just make it straight up. I think there might be exceptions to that rule, but generally I can just do that. Just make them vertical. But yeah, for angles like this, I had it way over here, and looking a second time, it's probably more like this. I draw the line several times, as you can see, because it's not just your brain working; it's also your body, and you're trying to like feel how. Yeah, you're making adjustments as you go. So seeing it on the paper helps you to see whether the angle is right or not. So if I didn't have the wrong angle to begin with, I wouldn't be able to correct it. So the fact that I had drawn it and then saw that it was wrong helped me to correct it. So you gotta let yourself make mistakes. And then you'll be able to see what it is. If you're too careful, it'll take longer. So let yourself make adjustments on the paper. So here I started straight up and down, but then realized that's not quite what I'm looking at. So. Right, if your box has certain style, or I mean, it's a kind of, you know, but different boxes are made differently, right? So go ahead and draw it the way you see it. We're just not putting labels or writing, or my one I'm drawing right now has ink splotches all over it, and I'm not going to bother drawing those ink splotches. We're mostly concerned with light and shadow, which is why we have a light source on it. In the daytime, it's, I mean, if you're going to choose between doing this at daytime or nighttime, you'll probably be better off at nighttime. I mean, depending on if you have blackout curtains or something, but I don't in this room have blackout curtains, and I want to do it now, so instead of waiting. So I'm doing it during daylight, but it would be easier to see the differences in light and shadow if it was nighttime. And I don't have, I might not have room for this guy. And I'll have to decide if I want the head to get cut off or not. I can see his collar is above this level. Oh, I have room for him. Okay, good. Bottom of his beak, or her. Let's just say her, because it seems like boys tend to call everything he and girls tend to call everything her, so I'll be different. Alright, so I got the bottom of her beak, and then her neck. All this is going to be dark on the left side, so I'm just shading it ahead now, which is helping me, if it's helpful. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't helpful, most likely, because it's not really time for shading yet, but I'm doing it because it's going to help me see where I'm at in some ways. So I might bring the level of my boxes down, since I was kind of struggling to cram everything into this space. And I'm just using, this is when you're using your 2H pencil and you get used to doing this, where you start with a light pencil and then move on to a darker pencil once you have things situated. When you get used to doing that, whenever you're holding the 2H pencil, you'll have a sense of freedom, because you know that you're just kind of figuring out where everything goes at this point. You're not trying to do the finished drawing, you're not trying to make something look perfect, you're just trying to get everything where it goes. So that freedom will allow you to make changes. One of those changes that I'm pretty sure I'll make is bringing these lines of these boxes down a little bit. And then maybe I won't see the bottom of the box. But that doesn't matter really to me. Unless there was some beautiful cast shadow. I mean, one thing I didn't do on my reference is put a piece of white paper under it, which maybe I will do that now and then remind you all. I'm reminding myself right now, but I'll remind you all in the description of the assignment, having some white paper to capture underneath your objects in order to capture or to be able to more easily see the cast shadow. It'll be hard if it's on a dark wood table like what I have. So I'm just slipping this white paper under my boxes so that I can see the cast shadows, where they're at. Okay, that's better. So maybe, yeah, what made me think of the cast shadow is if I'm dropping my lines, I might miss some of the cast shadow, but actually since the light is pretty directly on the right side, most of the cast shadows are coming out of here, out of the left side of these guys. So when you're doing a figure, we usually do a center line because animals and people are often, or most of the time, they're symmetrical. So we'll do a center line to try to see where that division point is between right and left. So this weird figure is something my friend, an artist friend of mine, Ben Hirschkopf. He was actually my first serious artist friend, and this was back when I was, well, he made this anyway, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, back when I was only doing music as my creative expression. I knew him. He was a fan or friend of my music projects, and he would come see me, and we became friends, and then I would go visit his studio and stuff, and then so he's part of my art journey. As far as his name's Ben Hirschkopf in Seattle, part of my journey as far as doing this kind of thing on a regular basis. This now I'm bringing the lines down, so this line is actually down here, coming out of the knee, and then this is more like over here, and then this is way down here. This is this flat box. Bring this line lower. This is actually a lot taller than that other box, so I need to go even lower. And then this is coming out of here, around here. Okay, yeah, that one's good. And this is better. Got this. And then this needs to go lower. And this needs to go lower a little bit. And this is coming out here. Okay. Okay, that looks good. All right, now I think I'm ready to switch to HP. So one thing you can do before you switch over is just lighten everything. You can roll this guy. If you make a snake out of it, out of her, you can roll her on the paper. Oh, I was saying, yeah, my friend Ben, he was doing a series for maybe a couple years where he was finding molds, ceramic molds of, you know, kitschy things, kitsch, kitsch, like in kind of campy or something. But he was finding kitschy things that were molds from craft stores, and then making the stuff out of clay using the molds, and then combining different things. So like the head of a duck, for instance, with body of a little boy or a little girl, that kind of thing. This was a tiny one that wasn't that labor intensive. He just gave me. And then my wife bought one from him that was a little bit more labor intensive. Okay, switching to HB. So you're doing this process at this point of negotiating between the past and the present. In the past, these lines that you already have are from the past, and then in the present, you're looking at your reference. And so there's a kind of negotiation going along between what you already had and what you're looking at and putting down now. Another way that I've described it before is like training wheels or creating your own guidelines. But you have this structure that'll help you focus more on making nice line work now. I have two different sizes of HB pencil, by the way, so to be transparent about my process. But yeah. This is on the shadow side. I'm gonna make the line thick. I'm going to come back for the shading. I'll probably start with the 2H again for the shading, and then do the darker areas with the HB, and then move to 2B at the end to increase the value range. But I am thinking about line quality right now, so if you have a line that's in the shadow area, good chance it'll be thicker. Oops. Kind of messy. Even for my standards, it's kind of messy. Let's see. Okay, this line can be thicker. This one can be thick. This one can be thicker. I'm gonna do a little trick here of making this. You can hold up a pencil. You're looking at something to get an angle. Like I'm trying to figure out the knee in relationship with the top of the head, and so I'm looking at my object with the pencil in the air so that it's touching those two things that I'm looking at and trying to see the relationship. And then I can try to match. So I have my pencil touching the top of the head and the knee at the same time, and I'm seeing the angle. It's pretty much a 45-degree angle. So if I draw a 45-degree angle, use the 2H. Then that'll give me where the knee is at. So it's actually, I think, higher than what I thought it was. Alright, sometimes I'll do a little bit of shading just to try to see how something is gonna shape up. Okay, before I'm actually doing the official shading. Alright, now I'm going to do the lines for the boxes, so looking closely at my reference to get the angle. And before I do the rest of that box, I'm going to draw this little box because I'll be able to see what to do with the bigger one in relation with that. Yeah, so what happened here is I would have drawn the line maybe over here, but this I already had this other line, and so I had to negotiate between where this goes and where that goes. So it's maybe slightly in, very slightly in, more than it should be, but it's okay because I'm making the whole thing work together. This work together, so I gotta judge where this line is coming. If I follow this line invisibly behind this other line, it's probably around here, and then it's following this angle, so I'm just gonna go up at this angle, and then I think it's like that. And so this one will have to come over a little bit, and then I'll drop this one down here, down to around that level, and then I'll do this angle from this corner, which I've already established, so I'm gonna try to get this angle, that same angle, down here. Okay, so that looks fine. I know I have a strong line here, so I'm just making it stronger right now too, because it'll also help me instantly see the difference between this area and this area. Trying to avoid thinking, you know, so you don't want to get caught up in your head. So a lot of this stuff is instinct that you build up over time. This is going to be a very thin line. This will be a stronger line. Might as well change now. It's a bumpy surface of the table right there. Bumpy, and then you got strong line here. Okay, so this box style has like these holes right here. I'll go ahead and put those in. So the holes in the cardboard. And there's another piece of cardboard showing, it's like they're like tabs. Here, and then I need to go up. I guess I did a pretty extreme angle here, so I either change this or change this. I think I will change this. Is too much, so I have to come back. I have to change both of these. Should be more like this. this angle over here. And I'll keep it thin. I'm going to put a pencil along this line to see what the angle would be like. Make it easier for me to match it. Okay, great. Okay, and I'm going to pause the video for a second because we're about to do the shading.